feels like we've like inherited this really rich art culture on the South Shore, and I feel a big responsibility to keep that going and to keep it growing and bring in like the next generation of artists into these organizations that are like fundamental to.
Okay, Julia Driscoll, excited that you're here sitting down with me.
Yeah.
An artist in your own right, involved over at North River. I think that's, what most of my dealings with you are, and I'm excited to talk to you about.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy
We're
to
just
be here.
we're talking cows, cow heads.
Yeah.
So
Cows.
So the cow head is from Hornstra Farms bought Peaceful Meadows. It's like from the old Peaceful Meadows.
Cool.
Apparently, it's
I just noticed it today. I wasn't sure if it was new, but I like it.
Yeah, no, it's
With
kind
all
of
the frames too. It's like a little art.
Yeah,
gallery,
I want to the frames. I hate just like people bring them in. A lot of the times they're not.
Oh, do you get donations a lot?
Yeah, well, that or people are updating things. Sure. Some of them, they're not like in great shape. But I have like a whole vision of making that outside area, more like artistic and like outdoor. Like, I was really inspired when I saw Sally Dean's thing up at Hanover Crossing. Like, and I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked to her about potentially doing something outside. Maybe just I thought about just putting some sort of structure out there and just let people have at it.
Yeah, I think like installation art is something that I'd love to see more of.
Yeah.
Have you been to the De Cordova Museum?
No.
It's cool. It's like an outdoor sculpture museum. I think it's...
Is that the one in
out in
West?
Concord, maybe?
Okay. Yeah, I think Mark told me about that one.
Yeah, very cool.
It's just all over the...
You just kind of like walk around. There's all different types of sculptures and like installation pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, I think that we need more of that around.
Yeah.
I think it's fun when you I think Rockland did it, like all those like electrical boxes.
Oh,
They
cool.
just
I didn't
let
see that.
artists like paint on them.
Oh, like around town.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. I mean, why not? Why have these things that are like eyesores when they can be used as a canvas?
Yeah.
And I think there's probably grants out there to like make that stuff happen, which is another project that I want to like dive into.
I'm kind of also just getting into the worlds of grants, so.
You should talk to Claude about that too.
Sure.
He's
okay, good to know.
He's a good resource for that.
All right, cool.
He's been out and gotten some, and he's explored it.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that I talked to him about that. We were looking at the idea of trying to we don't need grants here, but we're dealing with people that could certainly use them.
Yeah.
So I think it would be nice to have, be a resource to tell people like, you're crazy, you should apply for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So got some coffee from Slacktide too?
Slacktide coffee. I love it.
That's some of your
Very
design work?
Yeah. So my husband, Zach, and his childhood best friend opened Slacktide in August of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So I did their branding, and I still work with them on like design needs. I do like their merch. I got to design their coffee truck, which was really fun.
Yeah, the truck's awesome.
It was, it's so cool. I love it. The branding was really fun to work on for that. Anything I get to do with Slacktide is just like fun for me.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. The guy, it gives it an identity.
Sure.
I'm only like starting to like understand branding and.
Okay.
I have a company, but like I'm starting to think of it more as a brand and like the podcast more as a brand.
Yeah, definitely. I went to school for design.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Lesley, and when I graduated, I was working mostly in creative agencies, ad agencies. So I worked a lot on branding.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like where my background is. And then so when I got to work on Slacktide, I got to just like have so much fun with it because.
Free reign.
Yeah,
too.
totally.
Easy.
Only Zach telling me what to do. So, yeah.
No, nice. And did you make a conscious decision to step away from that and get involved with North River?
Yes
or is
and
it
no.
a market?
I was working at ad agencies, like I said, and then my boss kind of more or less told me like I should take the first job I could get because they weren't really doing that well. So
Yep.
I took a job mostly for the paycheck, I'll be honest. It was like a office corporate 9 to 5, and I really wasn't loving it. I got involved in North River around the same time I was working there and ended up getting laid off because of the pandemic.
Yep.
And North River was hiring for office administrator, so that kind of just worked out.
Yep.
In that way. So it wasn't like conscious that I was leaving it, but ultimately was for the best, for sure.
And when had you had ties to North River, or is that just something that popped up and like you saw a job opportunity that seemed like it was a good fit for you personally?
So my sister-in-law Grace and I started a craft market.
That's
about 6 years ago. It's called Wicked Women's Makers Market, which is a tongue twister. But so we started that 6 years ago. The first one was at Grace's house on Union Street in Marshfield. And there were a few North River artists in it. I know Sally Dean, Laura Harvey, Sushian was in it. And we just had...
What is the market?
So
is it just like I assume it's involved with a lot of women.
It is a lot of women. There's also some men crafters in there, but it's a craft market. It's a holiday craft market, so it's always the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And our first one, we probably had like 10 vendors, and the last one we had, I think we have like 35. So it's growing a lot. We now have it at the Marshfield Fairgrounds. So this year will be November 30th. And
so it's like a 1 day or 1 weekend?
It's a 1 day. It's 10 to 3. It's $5 tickets. And yeah, there's like slack tides there. We get like a food truck. We have a wine truck. It's a lot of fun. So that was kind of how I also made the connection with North River, because there was a few artists in our first one. And they were excited about the turnout. I think we ended up, our first market had like 600 people come through, and we did a lot of marketing for that. So they were hoping that we could kind of help them do some marketing and social media work. So that's how I originally got involved.
Well, when I see you over at North River, I mean, I think that I think it's great because you're younger,
Sure.
And I was, I mean, I was, when I was involved, I felt like I was younger then, but it's, I mean, it's important to have like to bring in youth to some of those organizations,
Totally.
like some of them, and I think it's also, it's important to have a balance, right? Having people that have been there for a long time is nice to have that history.
Yep.
But when it turns into just the people that were there since the beginning, it starts to get really stale.
Sure.
And art's not something you can really let get stale.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a topic I talk a lot about with my friends here on the South Shore that are in the art scene as well. Is it feels like we've like inherited this really rich art culture on the South Shore, and I feel a big responsibility to keep that going and to keep it growing and bring in like the next generation of artists into these organizations that are like fundamental to.
Yeah, we'd have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully we could have many conversations about that,
sure.
because this kind of the same mission that I'm on, just to continue the, get people involved and to make people that aren't necessarily artists aware of what a great, great art scene there is here. Because, you get the Cape with like Provincetown and, all those galleries down there, which are fantastic and like a nice, touristy trip type of place. But we have, much of the same here.
Yeah. So many great artists on the South Shore. And like you said, so many artists that have like really put their time in to making sure that they can thrive on the South Shore. So I feel like we owe it to them to keep going.
I feel like we need some more like outdoor art. I think is great, but like there's so many great organizations too. North River is obviously one of my favorites. Being in Marshfield, that was kind of the first place I got to be involved in like a board and see how learn how like an organization like that works.
Yep.
I mean, South Shore is awesome. I think they do a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
The Duxbury Art Complex.
Yep. The James.
The James Library is I think that you know Bill well at all, or
I
Bill
don't.
Hauser?
Yeah, so that's even like I would love to connect with them.
He was here last night.
Yeah,
I'll connect you.
yeah,
I'll absolutely
yeah.
connect you with him.
Yeah, it's like we're all pulling from the same pool anyways, so I think working together only makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. And from the art organization's perspective, I always feel like, well, they don't really want to like compete. You can't. You're I don't know. It's almost like siblings or something, right? Sibling rivalry.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we're trying to do with the website for the Frame Center is like to kind of be that area where everyone can kind of come together and see everything.
One place where all the events live and people can see all the opportunities. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that there should be some sort of board, advisory board or some sort of way to like tie in, so hey, we're going to do this event that we're really excited about on, Friday night. Can you not do something?
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah, scheduling is tough.
I think too, I know I've told you before, but probably mostly over email, just like sending you many thank you emails, but the Frame Center is also so important to the South Shore arts scene, and you do so much for local artists, so I think that's huge.
I appreciate it, and I think one of the emails I've received from you recently was very touching, and it kind of like, things like that are inspiring.
Yeah, because you do so much. I feel like you're at like every opening, every event, and I think that's a lot of your time, so it's very appreciated.
I'm trying to get, again, more and more. It's hard. It's almost like going to some of these events is a full-time job.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how you have the time.
Well, I'm trying to work less.
Yeah. But
me and Claude are supposed to shoot some stuff in Cohasset later, and Hull too. Because Hull has another great.
Hull too. Yeah.
So you just keep looking at Plymouth.
Yeah, Plymouth is great. Yeah, there's so many.
It's great. I was actually at a meeting yesterday for a networking group. And, was I going to connect you with somebody from this group in Weymouth and Jackson? I'm like, I didn't even know there was a group there.
I didn't know there was a Weymouth one. I know Quincy Arts Association. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities for artists. And like I said, I think working together makes sense. But again, there's like that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of competition. But at the same time, I don't think it's that.
It's not. It's art at the end of the day, and we're
maybe when shows are lined up, if there's like kind of slightly different styles too, that might make it easier for people to make a decision and see what they want. So they're not. It's more about the art than about the actual organization.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we're very fortunate, and I think some people don't even realize it. That's like another mission of mine, just to like draw our attention to that, and show people the personalities of artists.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, one of our challenges at North River is that people kind of assume it has a exclusive thing about it. Like I think the word society throws people off. Like maybe you have to be a member, or you have to be an established artist or something, but North River is open to everyone, beginner artists to people that just like art.
Yep.
Our events are open to everyone, open to the public. You don't have to be a member. So I think we experienced that as well, of people being like, oh, I didn't know I could come to a North River event. And of course.
Yeah. I think that maybe that like the James and like South Shore, maybe that center at the end of the name.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking to a branding specialist.
I know, right? Yeah.
I hadn't really thought of that, but I do always think about the James. They seem like they've done a like center for the arts. Like just that name, when you hear it, it
has like that community arts feel.
I'll connect you with Bill too, because I think he's done a great job like with that. The makeover there.
Yeah, they have a great space for a gallery.
It's beautiful. Marsha's show there was great. The girls just won a paint show. I mean, all those girls. They're all from North River at some point.
That was great.
And they have do you know Jared Hatfield?
Yes.
He's going to have a show next year there.
And
cool. Dina, who works here, is going to have a show. I'm excited for both of them.
Yeah.
Because it's great space. It's going to show their stuff awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to have artists show their work on the South Shore, which I think is really cool.
Now the North River kind of handles the stuff at a couple of libraries too?
Yes. Yep. The Hingham Public Library and the Ventress Library in Marshfield. We have satellite locations.
Do you handle all of them like all year round, or is some of the shows in Hingham?
I think it's like every other month about.
So they kind of leave it so people can apply and get the space too?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And at the actual hall, is there like a regular, are you working on that schedule too?
We have a pretty much full annual calendar of exhibits. There's usually like a month maybe in between each exhibit where there's nothing on the walls, just because we're in the process of taking art down and putting new work up. But our next exhibit coming up is the Member Show, which opens October 5th, and that will be up through all of October, and then after that we have the Marshfield High School students put their work up, which is really fun. They love seeing their work in a gallery space, and their parents and their grandparents come to the opening like right around the holidays, so that's a lot of fun. And then we just keep exhibits all year round until then we have the festival in May.
Are you doing most of the classes next door in the firehouse?
Yes.
So
there's not a lot of interference between exhibits and classes. Yeah,
it's tough to set up still lifes or models
exactly.
and then have all the stuff in the background. The student show is a great idea too. I think that's a nice way to like get the younger people in the door.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we've been working with the high school a lot recently. They have like a arts club there, and the kids are really like being involved. They had an exhibit at last year's arts festival as well, and they hung it themselves, and they selected their work, and it came out really beautiful. So I think it's also nice to give them an opportunity to like play a role in the event and like take some ownership over it as well. So I think down the road I would love to see a youth leadership group at North River where they can get involved and kind of have a bigger part as well. That's
a great idea. And you already have you kind of have the door open already with the
right.
Is the student show going to continue to be a part of the festival?
I think so. It's kind of more so decided by our festival committee along with the board, so it will go back to them for a review and decide, but I think overall the feedback was positive. Yep.
And you felt like, just from the experience of hanging it all, mixing the photographs and the photographs are art too, but just for a while it felt like that was like a separate space.
So I mean, I haven't been involved in too many festivals in person. From what I've learned is that photography was separate. It was in the firehouse, and then it was brought back in, and then it was separate again. I think there's pros and cons to both, and people have their own preferences. I think ultimately I like having the photography with the fine art because it is art. It's fine art. And having it all together, I think, creates that like cohesive feel. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be up to the festival committee what they decide to do with that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think it does make it challenging, but I think it also, to hang. But it also does have a nice feel, and it doesn't like make photography like
right, like its own thing. But I mean, it's a tough one because then when we have the photography in the firehouse, it also adds opportunity for more art from our members and from our community. So yeah, it's just one of those things. I think North River's challenge is our space. We're pretty limited. I wish we had more space for more art, but we make do with what we have. So
yeah, it's a tough neighborhood to get some buy someone's house and
I know, right?
move in.
I know. That'd be nice.
But yeah, I mean, there's upsides to that too, because it makes it a little bit more. I don't know. We want to say like exclusive to get in, but more of an accomplishment. When you're selected.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely an honor to get selected into the festival exhibit. It's very competitive. I think last year we had like 560 entries, and ultimately select like I think it was like 150 50 or so.
Yep.
So yeah, very competitive. And I think too, like being located in that neighborhood, which is like so historical and like picturesque New England, really adds to the festival atmosphere of like small town festival.
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorite events every summer. It's fun, just walking down the street, just seeing all the people, and it's
a lot of fun.
And I think a lot of people come out for that might not necessarily even be involved.
Totally.
Care about art.
Sure,
they just want to come out and be part of the community.
Yeah.
Those things are type of things are important to keep people focused, and then maybe they come back or they see an event or they kind of know somebody that's involved in a show and get them over there. It's always challenging to get people through the door, right?
Yes, that's the hardest part. And I think the festival does bring people in. I've met with some new teachers that were pulling in that's how they found out about us, is through the festival. So,
yeah, the posters I think have been great, like as a way to get people's attention. I think that's always like also like a nice starting point for people buying art too.
Yes, definitely.
And it ties it into that local feel.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, and you're mainly painting, or are you create?
Yeah.
What do you?
I mean, I was kind of thinking about this like in preparation for this. I'm kind of like all over the place with my art.
Yeah.
I don't think I've figured out.
I feel like I've seen like print, like were you doing printmaking too?
I was doing printmaking. I sew. I do all different types of things. I think I'm really still trying to figure out what I want to do, or maybe I just want to do everything. I don't know. I don't want to like put a limit on my creative side. I think for a while I was kind of trying to make like my creative side hustle, if you will, like my career, and I was getting burnt out and not enjoying what I was doing creatively, and I think that's kind of where I was getting into trouble, and I just want to like protect my creative side right now and like explore painting, or I took like a wood carving class, which was really fun, and just kind of like let myself play and experiment. So, yeah.
I think that you gotta like just do it all.
Yeah, totally.
And if it I think you're lucky too, because it's kind of like myself. You're in a job where you're involved in art.
Yes.
And like surrounding yourself and immersing yourself in that is.
Yeah.
Like let the other stuff figure it out.
And I think that's part of it too, is that like I'm seeing so much different art, and people come in that are like so passionate about what they do, and then it inspires me, and I'm like, I kind of want to try that too. And then so just kind of having fun with it still. I think eventually I'll land on the one thing that I just want to keep doing over and over. I haven't really gotten there yet. I tend to be the type of person that like I started oil painting maybe 4 years ago, and I was obsessed with it. It's like all I did.
Yep.
And now I have like a half-finished painting in my studio that I don't even want to look at. So I'm like kind of like that, where I like obsess over something, and then I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So, just like figuring that out and enjoying the process, and not being too hard on myself about the outcome. I was listening to Marsha's podcast with you, and she was saying that when she's creating, she's not thinking about like what other people are going to think of her work. And I think that's really cool, because I don't always think that. I think like social media has added for me an aspect of like, are people going to like this?
Yep.
And then wondering what the feedback's going to be. Sometimes I'll do something I really love and I'll post it and I'll get like 5 likes, and I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's really cool that Marsha's able to do that.
I think that when you're creating, you got to create for yourself first, right?
Yes.
And make sure that you love it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then the people that are supposed to love it are going to love it,
absolutely.
And the ones that don't are,
Yeah.
as long as it's like everybody's, nobody's like attacking you,
Yeah, no one's doing that. But I think I do want to get back to a place where I'm creating for myself and not worrying about what the outcome is.
What the sewing? What kind of stuff are you putting together?
I learned to sew when I was in middle school. My grandmother was a seamstress professionally, and my aunt was a home ec teacher, so they taught me. And I used to sew my own clothes. And then when I was kind of like right after college, I started selling vintage clothing, and I was making clothing from vintage fabrics. And that was kind of like my creative outlet when I was working that job that I hated. I was going to flea markets every weekend in Somerville and selling the clothes and vintage clothes I was making. And so I still do that a bit. I do that for the women's market. But again, that was the thing that I like really burnt myself out on. I was doing it like nonstop. And then eventually I just was not enjoying it. So I took a step back.
So I think is it Eva Cass, Karen's, Karen?
I know Karen.
So I think that she had a piece here, and then I think somebody else did too, and it was like clothing, like displayed on a mannequin. Like cool. Or I don't know if it's a mannequin or like a part. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. It's like from the shoulders to the waist. Okay. There was a piece like that in the Hanover Days show. Cool. But I feel like, and I thought it was Eva's, but I think that she had done something similar, like prior. So I mean, even maybe what you need to do is just push the boundaries and do things that people aren't doing.
Exactly, right? Yeah, because I was just making products to sell.
Yep.
And I wasn't like trying to make art from it. So I think I would love to kind of explore like textile art as well. I know Olivia Harvey does some really cool embroidery work. So that I find that really inspiring. So, yeah, there's still so much more that I want to do.
I mean, that stuff. I mean, maybe pushing the envelope, right?
Yeah.
You have an in. You probably make sure that Marcia go through.
That's true.
When they look at it, but I think like putting that stuff onto a, onto like that whatever it's called, part of a mannequin,
like a bodice thing,
or coming out with a way to, like we used to hang stuff here with the Hanover schools, and like, finding like creative ways to install artwork like that is cool. Yeah. Like the sculpture pieces, which there always seems like there's not enough.
I know. I agree. I would love to see like a wider variety of art forms on the South Shore.
I recently got a piece of Jared Hatfield's from. I bought it at Kel Mahoney's place. And,
okay.
Have you seen his new?
I haven't been yet.
Were you at his old place at Kennedy's at all?
Yes.
So he's basically just across the street.
Yeah, I know where it is, but I haven't been yet.
Yeah, he did his like grand opening party, and
cool.
I had been eyeing this piece of Jared's. I saw it at the James. I talked to Bill about it. I talked to Jared about it. Nice. And then I was just like kind of went there with with the intentions of buying it because I knew it was a Kel's thing. I was like, if it's still there, I'm just pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
But it's interesting trying to figure out. That was like the first like big sculptural piece I'd bought. Like, where do you put them?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing.
Especially with dogs and kids running around.
Not everyone has a space for it, and So where did you put it?
I have like a large fireplace thing, and it's like kind of stuck up in the corner. It looks really good. I was actually showing it to Bill last night, and he's like, "It looks perfect there." There's a TV, like, so I'm like, I don't, I gotta, maybe I'll just get rid of the TV.
That might be more
easiest, that might be the easiest thing to do. Because that's the first, it's big enough. I feel like I could put it in like a corner or something like that. It looks great where it is if I didn't have a TV near it.
I'd love to see it. I probably have seen it, but I don't know which one it is.
I'll show you a picture of it. I was bragging about it last night. But he has some great stuff.
He does, yeah.
There's a few people that you see it regularly at in some of the shows, and I think that there could be more.
Totally.
Like do you know Lisa Howard?
Yep.
Yeah, like the pot, like some of that pottery stuff should be in more shows, I think.
Yeah, I think so at North River I also do the programming. So a couple of things I've been thinking about bringing to North River are pottery and sculpture, because I think. Yes. Oh, cool! Yeah, I've seen that one. Very cool. Love that. And I think pottery and sculpture are two areas that need more opportunities for people to learn. I think pottery is harder to access because you need like the kiln and all the materials. I know there are opportunities like at South Shore, and Lisa teaches at local pottery. But I would really love to bring in some sculpture instructors and kind of get that going.
Yeah, so. I think it would be, I mean, I think there's so many artists, and there's I feel like there's a plenty that are interested in learning something else. Yeah. Just to support the community, and two, like, you start sculpting and you're a painter, like it changes your perspective on how you paint, and it's going to be helpful, and you're, if you're just getting better at everything, art is going to help you be a better specialist in whatever your avenue is. Yeah. I dove into pottery, like just started buying like mugs first from Lisa, and then now I have like plates. I'm trying not, like, I see the other ones, like the store-bought plates that we have. She's like I gotta like push these out of the way and try to get everything handmade. And she had a great way of putting it, like calling it like, because she doesn't really, I don't know if she really thinks of it as much about art, or it's more like functional. I talked to her ages ago, and I love going into her place because she's so passionate about it too, and knowledgeable. It's just like explaining to me like how like something explodes in the kiln and it like and it causes these like and it's just like, oh, that's awesome. I just think it looks cool.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I want to have all plates from I don't know. It's something. It's nicer that it's made by hand, right?
Yeah, it's like more enjoyable too. There's something about like putting your food on a handmade plate that just feels more special.
It feels it feels different completely. It's also nice to know that like you're supporting somebody that like in their their passion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have so many mugs. I can't stop buying handmade mugs, so I get that.
Yeah, no, she described it to me, and she's like about just holding it in your hands and like knowing that somebody else had done it, and it's like
it's special.
It feels nicer. And then you hold like this slick
like
white thing that was made out of in some sort of press or whatever. It just doesn't feel the same anymore.
Yeah, definitely.
I started getting a couple of the glasses from her too, like Glassworks.
Oh, cool.
I mean, have you seen any of the glass being blown? Yeah,
so I think that's like another area that I enjoy working with Slack Tide is like bringing in artists. So there's this glass blower. Her name's Rebecca Potash.
Is that the K Plus one?
Yes, K Plus glass. Yep.
Those are the glasses I have.
Those are the ones that are there. She's so cool. And Zach actually got to go to her studio and like help her make a few. So like those opportunities are so special. She made like a series of glasses for Slack Tide and put like the little logo on the bottom. And it's just nice to be able to like bring in artists to small business and support each other, and being able to have those opportunities is really cool.
No, I was there picking up some coffee this morning, obviously, and I see the wall. I mean, I help Mike change out his picture every once in a while. He's like, "Hey, can you come with me?"
I know Zach's always like, "Mike has a new picture up." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
But no, I love that's like so important. It's like you have a wall there that has like local artists. It looks nice. Some people I'm sure are probably buying stuff from it.
Yeah, all the time. People are interested in buying them. I put QR codes next to everyone's piece so that even if it's not for sale, they can scan it and find more of their work. But yeah, again, just like another opportunity to support local artists and bring them together and create opportunities for their work to be seen, sell their work.
Yeah, no, it's important. I know that like some of the schools, like we do something with the Norwell schools, and they have like I forget what they call it. If it's like a traveling art show, and like the stuff is displayed in like businesses and stuff around town. So I think it's important people seeing that. I mean, the motivation that must give to kids too is huge. Yeah. To see it hanging somewhere aside from your,
it's so exciting for them.
Your parents' house, and especially if, once it has a frame on it too, it feels
official.
Like it has a presence. So.
Yeah. absolutely.
I know that they have the stuff up like at South Shore. Is it like the little medical center that's up in a few other places? I've seen it, but you know, I just think that the more of that, the better.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Go into a different place or to get a cup of coffee and you see some, I don't know, store-bought thing that says
Marshalls.
coffee on
Yeah.
it. You know, like great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All that is a couple phone calls or
Exactly. Yeah. And there's so many opportunities and so many artists, and I think too, like starting at a school age level of getting their art scene, like that inspires them to that, like I could do this, you know, and that's not always available to kids.
So where was the K plus class that Zach got to go to her studio?
It was in the city. She now lives in Colorado, but it was somewhere in the city. And yeah, she has like a PhD and she's just like so knowledgeable about it. So I always love talking to her about it.
I got them from Lisa.
Oh, okay.
But like two of the and they're just like they're so much so much cool. Better than like a regular glass. They're heavy. They're you're paying more for them, but they are more special to use.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I had like struggled for a long time. Like I bought a couple mugs from Lisa and I put them up. And they're like on display. And she's
like,
no,
I don't want to use them.
Yeah, they're too nice.
Yeah.
But she like talked some sense into me.
Yeah, they're made to be used and loved. So.
Yeah, and then some of them are gonna get broken, or some of the mugs that I have from Lisa, like dishwasher.
Yeah. That's just so sad. But I just broke one of Rebecca's glasses recently, and it was sad.
Yeah, I just like they're chipped, but and then you see this other stuff that like is it a Japanese culture where they like glue the things back together
with the golds. Yeah, so cool.
And it just makes it more, the imperfectness I think is what's perfect about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, adds character.
Yeah. So, what is are you in talks with some people about trying to get the sculpture or the
someone gave me a name. I haven't yet to reach out to them, but yes, the plan is that hopefully in the winter, maybe the spring. Maybe I'll reach out to Jared too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he seems like he's a busy guy. Have you been to his studio?
I haven't.
His studio is great. He has. I mean, I walked through there. I kind of invited myself over.
Yeah.
and he was showing me around. I mean, he's just so talented.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to see his show at the James.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it too. And I think I love seeing artist studios too. I would love to see more like open studio events.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing, like arranging some sort of tour. That is part of one of the things that we want to do is just like run the cameras in some studio spaces just to give people an idea. Yeah,
it's so cool to see like the setup behind people's work, and I enjoy seeing the process of people's art making too.
Yeah, I mean and understanding what like making them human too. Like,
definitely,
I'm really messy.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like there's stuff all over the place. There's
totally.
canvases everywhere. It's like maybe this artist isn't like just making this one piece.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Probably not. Yeah.
What's your studio like?
It's crazy. It's just in my house. I dedicated one room to my studio, and it's just filled with stuff. When I was really into sewing, was collecting a ton of fabric. So I have like piles of fabric, and then I have like my paint supplies and a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm lucky to have a space dedicated to it for sure.
Yeah. So let's touch on this. Tell me the story behind this, and maybe you should start incorporating some fabric in there.
I know, maybe I should. So I think the one thing that like all my art has in common is element of nature. I'm just really inspired by nature, especially around here. It's so beautiful. So this kind of came about last summer, I think. A place that I walk my dogs a lot in the summer gets like so many goldfinches. When you walk around, they just like hundreds of them fly around, and it was just really magical. So I kind of created this idea of, I don't know, just feeling like really connected to the goldfinch. And I'm a big water person. I love swimming. And I kind of wanted the background to resemble a bit of like stained glass, kind of like like a spiritual element to the painting.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see it. It's kind of like I don't know, is it like reedy
Right,
type
exactly,
of state? Yeah, but it has that
so
mosaic type of feel to it.
I think for me, just getting the concept across of like nature feeling really healing to me and spiritual.
Is that you?
It's not really me, but it could be. It's just like a generic female face. But yeah, so that's kind of how that came about, and I really enjoyed working on it. So.
And this is going into the
member show. Yep, the North River member show. So that will be in it.
Is there a title, or is it?
I called it Goldfinch on My Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's the? You gonna give away the secret location, or is this?
Might have to gatekeep it. No. It's yeah. I'm not gonna tell. I have 2 dogs that they don't get along with other dogs very well, so I have to pick my walk spots very carefully.
Nice. What kind of dogs?
They're hound mixes.
Nice.
Yeah.
We have 2. Your 2 get along?
They get along together, but they're like kind of bullies together to other dogs. So they're a lot.
Do they ever make appearances in some of your paintings?
They do. I have one painting of my dog Millie that I did a couple years ago, and it's hanging in my house.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
I feel like your stuff has a lot of colors, and you use a lot of, the selection.
Yes.
Like bright frames.
Yeah. I love color.
Mm-hmm.
I like looking at work that makes me feel happy, and I love blues and greens.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to lean towards those, like, even without thinking about it. It just kind of happens.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like I like the frame selection because it becomes part of the.
It looks really nice. I love it.
The art. That must be why you like Marsha's work too, right? The bright colors.
Yeah, I love her work. Yeah. So yeah, I find it really inspiring.
I was talking to somebody about her stuff yesterday, and she described it as celebratory.
Oh,
and I was
like that.
That's a great adjective for
her. Yeah, I like that.
For her stuff.
Yeah, that is a great word for her
like
work.
I don't know, it feels like, and then I was looking at it, I'm like, that's so I didn't think of that adjective, but like seeing like it almost feels like something confetti or someone's throwing it up in the air.
Yeah, totally.
It's, wild.
It makes you feel good to look at it. So
no, it definitely does.
Yeah.
And art should have that,
Yeah, it can be both. I mean, I like looking at all types of art, but I think for me, like when I create art, I want to feel happy.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, so you're trying to
convey that, and with color, and
Was it the same in the design stuff? How did this guy?
So this kind of came about. My husband and his brother, that is also an owner of Slack Tide. They're both fishermen.
Mm-hmm.
So slack tide is the time between high tide and low tide when like the water is calm and still.
Yep.
So I wanted to incorporate a fish, and then it's kind of like also a coffee cup, and you have like the little wave on top. So it's a bunch of different things.
It's a wave. I thought it was like a fin.
A fin. It's everything. Yeah, it's both. So yeah, that's kind of how that came about. That was I think I already said this, but it was like a lot of fun for me to work on that, because I think working on like client branding before, when I was at creative agencies, was more like restrictive. There were more rules. So this was just like, they were like, whatever you think, like go for it, have fun. So
yep. Is he involved in art too, or have you kind of dragged him into that world?
He has some design background as well, mostly in web building. So him and I will still work together on some like freelance projects where I do the design and he'll develop the website. But he like has a design eye, so he has feedback too, which is helpful.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of different characters that made the cut? Did you have to like narrow it down?
It was like kind of immediately this one, I think. Yeah, there were a few iterations, but it was pretty unanimous that this was the one.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know, anything else you want to cover? I can continue to talk about art.
I know. This has been fun. I don't think so.
Awesome. Well, The festival is not the festivals are always
Memorial Day weekend.
Memorial Day weekend, but the member show, and I don't know why I can't.
That's okay.
Properly.
You have a lot going on.
The member show is going to be October 5th?
October 5th is the opening, and then it will be open through the 30th.
Okay.
Well.
Anything else exciting going on over at North River you want to unveil?
Lots of classes and workshops.
And people just find that on the website?
Yep, on our website, northriverarts.org. If you're interested in getting involved, send me an email or call the office. Love to chat. So
yeah, and I think that people need to know to just get in. You don't have to be an artist to be involved either, right? I think that I'm trying to remember what Patrice called. But like people that just making small donations.
Yeah.
Everything helps.
Totally.
Organizations like that.
Yep. We have a membership that's like. It's like $50 for an individual to join for the year, and that's so important to keeping us going. So any little bit helps. We're a super small nonprofit, so
yeah. But you mean memberships, just taking a class, all those things, or even just even non-financially, just showing up at events.
Absolutely.
I think is a very important thing for people to do.
Yep.
And that's a good way to support the arts in the community.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm always excited to talk to you, Julia, about art, and maybe we'll have you back when North River has some other big announcements.
Sure, sounds good.
Make you a regular in here.
That sounds good. All right, thank you so much.
No problem.